Okay, the purpose of this video is to show you how to retarget the mocap skeletons from Rococo onto a Rectify rig. The end results are usually pretty good. So first things first is I'm going to clear out my current setup, and you will import in your FBX. So you'll import in your FBX, and I use the AutoRig Pro add-on to do the retargeting. Just because I'm very familiar with it. You can use other add-ons, but for this you would select your FBX, and that's your source armature, and then you would select your Rectify rig. Then you can hit auto scale, and what that will do is if your rig is imported in at an improper size, it will just scale it to something that's visually easier to look at. Next is you need to click the build boneless button, and what that will do is that will populate this area. So this will make a list of all of the bones from your source rig, and all of the bones for your target rig can be assigned in this interface. I have already done this in this file. So all of the main skeleton is already targeted for you. I will give you this file. And you need to make sure that whatever you want to be the bone that will move the skeleton around is set as the root bone, which it will be if you import this list. It should be. And once you're confident that this is all set up properly, the next thing you'll need to do is redefine your rest pose. So for this rig, its rest pose, if you clear out everything, is this sort of A pose stance, and this rig, when I brought it in initially, takes on this T pose stance. And what you will do is you will click on your source rig and hit redefine rest pose, and just hit OK. And your goal here is just to move your bones to be about where you expect them to be, to match your target rig as close as possible. So I'll move it on local X. Let's just try it by 60 degrees. Well, that's close enough. And you will hit apply. It's important that your rest poses match up as close as possible. Then at this point you should be ready to do your first retarget. These default settings will be fine. This can take a minute. It depends on how many bones and how long the animation is. So if it freezes for a minute, just leave it alone, let it work. So now this rig has had its action retargeted, and this rig and this animation is this action is completely separate from this rig now, and you can take this action and import it wherever you need to. These two rigs line up decently well already in terms of proportions, but say that you had a target rig that was very different in proportions from your source rig, and things just didn't look quite how you wanted them to. Like say here, where we have the hands just kind of passing through each other. If we wanted to have maybe the arms flared out a little more, what you can do is, in this view, your boneless view, search your target bones for whatever bone you want to move. In which case, in this case, we'll do the upper arm FK. Upper arm FK, and this actually the left one. That's fine. And you'll come down here and enable interactive tweaks. And what this will do is let you kind of move where the bone is in the animation, and whatever, well, if I just click this button, you can see it flares the arm out by a little bit, by 10 degrees. And it will not just do it for this one pose, but it'll do it for across all of the keyframes in your animation. So let's do something a little extreme. We can move the arm way up. And so that's an easy way to sort of move bones around to better match each other across an entire animation. You can also do something similar with additive location. This would probably be pretty useful if we were retargeting to eye key bones, but currently we will probably just be doing FK to FK, so that's not something we need to worry about. But the option's there, and that for the most part is everything I do to retarget. There's probably more things you can experiment, but that's about as far as I've gotten. You will have to fiddle with it more on crappy rigs you're targeting to, and every rig will have different proportions, so not everything works as well as you might want it to, but ideally, if you did all those steps correctly, you should be pretty good to go.